Yo. So, I want to talk about when life kicks you up the arse. When life gives you circumstances that aren't so favourable. Life gives you circumstances of things that may be perceived as, dark. Why is life giving me, why am I sick, or why would you take this away from me? Why is life taking this away from me? Why, anything could be happening, especially with things right now. Things are up in the air and a lot of chaos going on. So I think being able to have perspective, right? Change your perspective to look at things from a different picture and not take yourself out of that victim mindset, right? That victim mindset is where we destroy ourselves, is where we go down that hole. We go down that hole that, if we get to a depth, there's no coming out of it. There's no pulling yourself out of it, right? So we can be a victim of our circumstances, or we can ask, what is it showing us, right? I know for me, the times in my life that really hit hard and I felt like I was surrounded by darkness and just in a void and this heaviness, right? And things around me happening, like just losing, I won't go into detail, but things happening that are just like, why is this happening, right? To be able to look at that and go within you and say, okay, so what is it showing me? Maybe these things happening, right, are invoking something within me, bringing stuff up within me for me to look at. So maybe the events happening around me are a blessing in disguise, because it's an invoking this either anger or like even depression, like this sadness or like this wound of not having enough, right? It can bring this up and we can sweep it under the rug, or we can look at it and go, okay, so life's bringing me circumstances to bring this up for what? And for me, it was to look at those things, to consciously look at those things and look at them, and even, ask those parts of yourselves what they need and treat it like an inner child, because a lot of these things, this darkness within us is like conditioned into us at a young age, right? When we're young and certain events happen, certain things happen, and maybe someone insulted us, maybe our parents said something to us that really hurt us, right? And emotions, naturally, our thoughts, they come in, they go, right? Our thoughts come in, they go. Our emotions come in, they go. Especially as kids, we learn to, like something happens, like maybe something gives us a lot of fear, a lot of, this is where PTSD stems from a lot of people. Anxiety and even depression comes from a young age, of where an emotion's been brought up into us, right? It comes through, and then instead of feeling it and letting it go through the natural process, we like store it in our body, we keep it here, and then we bottle it down. And a lot of the time we don't realize that's why we're in certain patterns, why we're indulging in certain things, is because we're numbing that part of ourselves. We keep sweeping under the rug, and the more we do that, the more we allow it to play in subtle aspects in our lives, and the more we allow it to build, and then people reach this point where they're filled with this shit, and either they explode into the world and do some crazy shit, or or they're just filled with this heaviness and depressed and anxious, and that's what the system wants. The system wants us to be like that, in modes of where we're just following, we're just doing what everyone else is doing. We're programmed to do this, we're programmed to do that. Very conventional, right? So sometimes life, especially if you're going through an awakening, if life's hitting you hard, giving you tough circumstances, just feel what that's bringing up. Just feel it. Maybe it's there for a blessing. Maybe it's a blessing, so it's bringing up stuff, and you can clear away that darkness that it's keeping you in certain relationships that are not serving you, you know, certain habits that aren't serving you. I know damn well a lot of people are in those habits in this day and age, whether that be doom scrolling or, you know, substances. And substances, man, sugar is one of the most crazy things, and people are just clueless. They're just absolutely clueless to the food they're eating, and, you know, all that's unconscious because people are just programmed into an unconscious state, right? They're on autopilot, right? So this path takes conscious, takes awareness, takes self-accountability to look at things and you know, accept those parts of yourself that are hurt, you know, instead of being like feeling guilty and guilt tripping yourself and all these things. Try and have a different perspective. Maybe be a bit more loving to that part of you. Treat it like a child that's hurt, and what does it need? You know, maybe it just needs to be out in nature, or just needs a self-hug, you know. You just maybe needs just 5 minutes to just sit with it and just feel whatever, you know. Most people can't do that because we're programmed to distract, sweep it under the rug, distract, you know. Keep going, just go to work and get home, get shit-faced, and then, you know, same old. It's like, I've seen it within people, you know, close to me, very close to me, that have gone to the depth of addiction and you know, seen just pure despair from, you know, from the system, from it wants us to be in these lower frequency states because that's when we're most vulnerable. That's when we're most manipulated. We're like, you know, and it's crazy world we live in. So, you know, maybe try and have a bit of a different perspective on things. Just a little, you know, maybe the things you're feeling, you know, are there for a reason. They're not just coming up out of nowhere. Maybe it's something from your past that you haven't looked at. You know, maybe you thought you looked at it, and, you know, there's always more stuff that comes up and we can look at, and the more you go, it's like a cloudy sky, you know. If it's like full overcast and it's cloudy and things are heavier, then, you know, you clear away those things. It's like you allow those things, you know, your emotions to pass through, and you relinquish those things, and you let the light shine through. You're able to be more your authentic self, not a programmed self, not a conditioned self, not a sense of self built on conditioning. You're conscious, you're here, you're in your heart, you're aware, right? You're not all up in here, and that's where things get crazy, up in here. And a lot of the times that comes from a disconnect from here to here. We're disconnected from here in this reality. It's, you know, so, man, live from the heart. Feel what you need to feel, and you know, what is it? Feeling's healing. Ooh, bringing out the big guns. The big guns. I like it. Oh yeah. All right, ladies and gents, I am done. Hopefully this helped you out. This is all from my own experience, so I'm just rambling a bit. Hopefully, you know, it helped you, and I hope you have a good day, or, you know, good night. Cheers.